Ever since I started my fitness journey, which is almost 10 years ago, and I saw some of those initial results and I started posting some of the photos of my transformation, people started asking me about supplements. That's actually one of the first questions I got asked is, which supplements did I take? Rather than asking me what training did I do, what was my nutrition, what was my lifestyle, people didn't really care. They wanted to know what did I take, which supplements did I take to lose weight. And to this day, almost a decade later, almost daily, I'm still asked which supplements to take to get down to 10% body fat, or let's say which supplements to take to build muscle. It's always about which supplements. And I realize now that there's such a huge push out there that is a big machine, very, very loud push for supplements. And a lot of influential figures with very large followings will attribute their results to supplements, or they're gonna actually downplay the supplement, but they're still gonna keep mentioning the supplement. And through a lot of repetition, of course, when someone says, I got in the best shape of my life, and by the way, I'm taking this. I lost 10 pounds in a month. Oh, by the way, I'm taking this. It's natural for all of us to start making correlations and then confuse that as a big causation, like the supplement caused the result, or the supplement actually played a big role in the result. This is actually called the availability bias. What you keep seeing, you start attributing more value to it and you try attributing more importance to it. And that's actually a very, very big problem nowadays, because a lot of people think that supplements do matter a lot more than they actually do. And that's something I want to do in this video, to kind of put things in the right context and make things a bit more clear, so you understand what to take, what you shouldn't take, basically how I approach the whole supplement game. And by the way, if you're new here, my name is Mario Tomic. If you'd like to learn more about exercise, nutrition, how to live a healthy lifestyle, how to get lean, how to get down to 10% body fat, consider subscribing below. So make sure to hit that bell icon to enable notifications for future videos. And now let's dive into it. So first, let's get started with answering that question. So which supplements do I recommend if you're getting down to 10% body fat? And the answer is quite simple. I don't recommend any. You should not be randomly taking supplements. You should always have data and proof that you need something before you take it. And the data and proof is not that difficult to get. I mean, you should be doing regular blood work anyway for the sake of monitoring your own health, and then you can double check if you really need something. So for example, a common need is vitamin D, because a lot of people spend time indoors, including myself. Like, a lot of my life is being indoors, and if we're out of season, if it's not summer, I'm not gonna get as much sunshine, so I'll probably need to take vitamin D. And I say probably because I'm not just taking it based on this assumption. I'm actually going there and I'm doing my blood work, and if I see that my levels are low, I'm gonna start taking vitamin D. And that's how you go about things. You don't just randomly go out there and start taking a boatload of stuff. Now, the other thing is that there's a lot of these performance supplements out there. I'm generally not a big fan. And for example, the only thing that really I could recommend, without having any doubts that it might help, would be a creatine monohydrate, because it's worth trying, because there's a lot of scientific literature behind it. There's actually lots of proof of safety, and I think it's worth trying if you want to bother to take it regularly. For example, I don't take it because I forget to take it. And I used to take it with a protein shake. I don't do protein shakes and whey protein anymore. So I used to take creatine with the whey protein. Nowadays, I don't take protein shakes. I forget to take my creatine. So that's another example of this. Simply, it's not convenient for me to do it, and I just don't take it. I forget it. And it doesn't really make that much of a difference. Again, it's a small difference. At the end of the day, it's just a tiny little pebble compared to the big boulders that you need to have in place with your nutrition, with your training, with your recovery, with your whole lifestyle organized in order for you to get to 10% body fat. For example, taking creatine is nothing. It's not gonna make any difference whatsoever. There's a couple other things, for example, pre-workouts. I personally don't take them. I tried them when I first started my fitness journey. Not a big fan. They burn me out in that period of time when I get hyped because of those stimulants, and then eventually afterwards I have a big dip, and then I'm not very functional outside of the gym. So I'm okay in the gym, but I'm not very functional outside of the gym. I prefer much more to have a steady baseline energy level, and I improve that baseline energy level to go up, so my energy is very consistent throughout the day rather than having big spikes and then big downs. This is what happens a lot of times. Now, you might not respond the same way I do, but I generally don't recommend pre-workout supplements. Most of my clients are not taking pre-workout supplements. Some just like it. They like the feeling and they don't have the dip, and they take them very, very early in the morning, so it doesn't affect their sleep, so they can get away with it. I personally don't go out of my way and say you should be taking pre-workout supplements, and I don't recommend them. And the other stuff, the same applies. I mean, for example, whey protein. If you can get enough protein from your diet and make that convenient and really work on that, you can you completely just go with that. You don't need whey protein. Now, it can be a stepping stone, maybe in that direction when you want to increase your protein intake. It can help, but over the long term, you should be able to get your protein without supplementation. Now, there's the case of convenience, of course. When you know what you're doing, you might go for convenience, and that's okay. But other than that, there's really not much that I can go and just say, oh, you should take this, because it doesn't make that much of a difference. Your results will be literally identical whether you're taking these supplements or not. Of course, vitamin D can make a big difference if you're completely deficient, if you have that problem. So you should be double checking again your blood work, because this is more related to health. But all these other like little optional things, like no difference. So don't buy into the hype. I understand that. I know when someone who you look up to or someone you want to look like, and they say, oh, I'm taking this and that and this and that, and look, double check the claims. When you look at actual scientific literature, there's not much. I mean, it's all very, very vague. And a lot of these supplements that are claiming benefits, these are studies that are not even done on humans. These are studies done on rats, sometimes not even in living tissue. Like, this is the kind of stuff that just random mechanistical assumptions on this effect that never really even plays out, even in vitro, let alone in vivo, and let alone in animals, and let alone in humans. There's such a big stretch to how this would work that it's often something that basically you're just throwing money away. For things like BCA, I mean, we have so much research that now points out that you're basically just drinking expensive lemonade. You may as well just make lemonade and drink that. It just doesn't give you any benefits. And there might be data that kind of goes against this data, but so far what we know, good example about BCA, that doesn't make any difference. Actually can even do some harm in some cases. So I would just avoid going into this world entirely and focusing more on good, healthy nutrition, good food choices, proper training, putting in the effort when you're training, learning about how to train right, designing your programming, you're getting help if you don't know how to do this, getting help externally to get someone to actually program your workouts, your nutrition, and educate you on how to do this right and optimize things. Those things really matter. Supplements are a very insignificant part of this journey, and I just always use this example of my clients. Like, none of them take anything, and they're just getting completely shredded. And we're talking about hundreds of people, including myself as well. In my journey, I don't take anything. And over the years, I've just never really stuck with me to take much stuff, because I never really bought into the hype, because I'm very skeptical in my nature. When I look at something that's overhyped, I kind of have this natural tendency to take a step back and double check the claims. And every time I've dug into the research, I've saw that those claims are based on nothing, and it was just a lot of hype. A lot of even stuff that is referenced in the research that the study doesn't even show the result that it was claimed and that it was referenced for. It's just crazy. It's just an unregulated industry. People can get away with writing a lot of stuff on there. Makes no sense, or that doesn't really apply at all to the actual compounds inside. So I would be very cautious. I would actually just completely stay away from this, focus on the lifestyle change, focus on actual things that matter, like things like training effort, for example, matters way more than supplementation. That's going to make a huge difference in your journey. So how hard you train, things of that nature. I think people should focus a lot more on this rather than on some kind of magic pill or trying to find some kind of quick fix. So that's my 2 cents on this. I hope this makes sense. I'm going to leave a video here at the end that's going to help you, again, get to 10% body fat with some proper habits and lifestyle changes that I know will make a huge difference in your journey. So check that out. If you want to work with me as your coach and as your mentor, if you want to get help on this journey, if you don't want to do it alone, if you want to do it with guidance and having hands-on support, check out the link in the description below where I share some of the results of my clients. So there you can apply to work with me. Other than that, I will see you in that next video.